Hello and a very warm welcome to all of our viewers tuning into another power packed interview of Entrepreneur Outlook, where vision meets action and stories ignite inspiration. Today, we are truly honored to host a visionary leader in the world of education, innovation, and entrepreneurship. A man whose vision continues to shape future leaders and transform institutions. Please welcome Dr. Ajeenkya D.Y. Patil, the chairman of Ajeenkya D.Y. Patil Group and a thought leader who wears many impactful hats with grace and purpose. So, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Ajeenkya, today.
Thank you, Kajal. Thank you for that excellent introduction as well. Thank you. Happy
Pleasure
to be
is
here.
all ours. Pleasure is
Yeah.
all ours, Dr. Ajeenkya. So, Dr. Ajinkya, your leadership has been truly instrumental in the growth of Ajinkya DY Patil Group. And when you're reflecting on your journey, what were some of the most defining moments that shaped your personal vision as well as the direction for the group? Could you just walk us through that first?
So I think it's a very interesting time in the history of the world because I grew up in an age which was analog, and I'm growing up in an age which is now digital. So we were at the crossroads of this process, this whole journey from going from analog to digital. The new generation is entirely digital. But I always had this burning desire to get technology into our everyday lives, and that's coming true. So that vision was always there with us as to how technology can be part of our everyday working. So it was a thought then, it was almost science fiction then, but it's science fact today. So to a certain extent, I think the growth was fueled by the future vision that we envision.
Okay, understood. And coming to the groups, emphasis, we would say like there's a great emphasis on innovation, right? So, if we talk about that, Dr. Jinkya, could you just share your personal insights of this particular concept when we talk about innovation and how it reflects, in the group's commitment to human-centric progress while being in sync with innovation?
So, what I feel is traditional educational institutes have essentially been degree churning organizations,
Mhm.
wherein you go to get an engineering degree or a medical degree or whatever degree that you choose. So, you're in and in, you're out.
Yeah.
And there is a huge gap between the industry and the academics.
Mhm.
And what happens is once the graduate comes out, he's not really prepared for the industry,
Mhm.
and the industry takes that extra effort and process to sort of make him industry ready, which in my opinion is not right. Things are changing now, of course. I'm talking of whenever I speak, I refer slightly to the past, to
Mhm.
the present. So I hope you understand that in that context. So in terms of innovation, what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the children on the shop floor itself directly while they are studying. So of course, this is a slow process because there are very regulatory hurdles as well. Things have to change rapidly on the regulatory side as well. Attendance is an issue that you need to keep them on the campus. And the industry academic bridge is very important. So we are tying up with a lot of industry to understand what exactly their requirements are. So
Mhm.
we give them industry ready graduates. I know this is a buzzword that every educationist talk, but we are actually doing it. And we understand what the industry needs. So what that assures is the industry doesn't waste time in deploying those candidates. And secondly, we have a sort of a guaranteed placement plan because they are ready for that particular industry. So in fact, we macro manage to such an extent that we'll go to every organization, whether it's a requirement of 3 engineers or 30 engineers or 300 engineers.
Mhm.
And then we'll accordingly tweak the syllabus so that they have that experience. We also give that experience of doing an internship in some of the industries. So innovation starts with industry academic partnerships.
Mhm.
Of course, there are many other methods that we're using because we incorporated multimedia learning long time back. Many of our lectures are now digitized, which will be available to the students when they want. This is, of course, again becoming very common today, but we've been doing this for quite some time. And the teaching methodology is also very different. So I would say the teaching is not just from the chalkboard to the book, but rather from the mind to the mind, because the student needs to understand and the teacher needs to make them understand what he's really teaching. So every teacher here is given an objective in terms of it's just not the degree that they would need to get, but it's their understanding of their subject, how their future will shape up. and how they can contribute and fuel the economy of that particular industry. So that sort of sense of understanding is given. We also have a concept of T-shaped professionals where I would point the T. The T at the bottom will be your expertise in that particular area. So you could be an engineer in, say, aerospace engineering. And at the top of the T, because he has to work in an industry, so he purely can't be an engineer. He needs to understand finance, he needs to understand marketing, he needs to understand human resources.
Hmm.
And in a certain way, we instill these values in them so that they have a better understanding of the environment they're going in, because an engineer will be focused only on engineering, a finance guy will be focused only on finance, a marketing guy will be, and so on.
Hmm.
So it's essential that they have an overall understanding of the business, because at the end of the day, you have to make a profitable venture. He has to contribute not just in terms of his skills,
Hmm.
but also for the greater appreciation of that entire organization. So there is a lot of innovation happening at a campus. Academic tie-ups are there around the world. So I can go on and on. So it's a very exciting time, and we also have partnerships with over 45 international universities. So there is student exchange between them, there is staff exchange between them, there is a lot of collaboration that happens,
Hmm.
and over a period of time we want to keep increasing this. Another innovative concept we are now introducing within a couple of years will be the use of AR and VR headsets.
Hmm.
So augmented reality is something which is coming in a very big way. So some of the training will be done through augmented reality, where instead of the shop floor, they can actually get access to it through virtual reality, and they can experiment on this. So there's a lot of innovation going on there at a campus.
Understood. That's truly fantastic to know, Dr. Jinkya. And now I would also like you to talk about the fact that, as we know, that the landscape of business and technology is rapidly evolving, right? So, how do you ensure that the group remains not only just relevant, but also emerges as a leader in anticipating and adapting the future of market demands?
So I think I already touched on some of those points when I spoke earlier, because innovation is the only way to excel.
Hmm.
In terms of leadership, I don't think we look at ourselves as leaders. Rather, we look at ourselves as contributors to the overall cause, because there are many entities and groups like ours who are contributing to the success of the country, or to that matter, to the world. So it's not just about leadership, but about creating a skilled workforce that will really innovate and adapt to this. So I spoke a little bit about the qualities of the students that are coming out. I also mentioned about AR and VR. So I think we are keeping ourselves relevant in that way. But I also see a drastic change coming in the way people will learn. I'm talking of just people, not only students, because AR, VR, AI, these are now pervading all parts of our life. And perhaps this will change the way academic institutes perform or adapt. Many of the academic institutes I see in the future may perish, because there will be no need to go to these organizations. Education will be available at the touch of a button. And in the future, I feel academic institutions will be more centers of social gatherings where you could use your humanity skills to interact with each other, and basically go there for the experience. But I see the world changing rapidly. When we talk of Industry 4, it definitely has to touch education. So while it's a very exciting time, it's also very disruptive time. So I would see the tech companies sort of coming into the space, and educational institutes converting into educational companies rather than just pure academic brick and mortar based companies. So again, this is a topic which can be vastly discussed, because I'm very passionate about providing education to the people who can't afford education. And a very small majority of our population, when I'm referring to Bharat, gets access to this education, because again, I keep repeating this mantra, is because they don't have the financial resources, or there are not enough institutions. So the use of technology will greatly enable more stakeholders to come into this environment, and there will be more knowledge deployed everywhere at a lower cost, or perhaps even free one day. So the challenge for academic institutes and as well as industry would be to create adequate jobs, because then there would be a problem of plenty. If we have too many graduates, I think the country or the world also has to evolve at that pace. So economies will also have to adapt. It will not just be educational institutes. So I see a very utopian world in the future in terms of governance, in terms of appreciation, in terms of how we will live as a species.
Understood. And as you already mentioned, Dr. Jinkya, that at the core of your organization is that drive to make a positive impact, right? So, how do you personally measure the meaningful difference that Ajinkya DY Patil Group has been making in people's life, or in terms of being, in terms of individual life, or in terms of creating an impact when it comes to the communities?
So, ingrained in our philosophy is always that you're working for the greater good. You're just not working for yourself. And I think it's very much in the ethos of the Indian culture that we work for the greater good. Like Prime Minister Modi says that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the world is one. And one world is our philosophy as well. We feel that every graduate who goes out has to create an impact on society. So these kind of values are instilled in the students.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we have now set up a department called Advanced Indian Sciences,
Okay.
or I could call them ancient Indian sciences, but
Mm.
we call them advanced because there is a lot of knowledge within our own domain which has been lost over a period of times, whether it's because of imperialism or because of the various rulers we had over the past few centuries.
True.
And when a lot of this knowledge was buried, so we're trying to get this knowledge out in terms of scientific evaluation. And there are areas like Vedic sciences, there are areas like astronomy, there are areas like astrology, which really are scientific valuations of what knowledge existed in ancient Bharat. So those are some of the values we are inculcating. And again, I go to the core philosophy that we as Indians
Mm-hmm.
look at the whole world as one family. And I certainly feel that we can be a beacon of hope to the entire world. Today, students are going overseas to study. We always look at higher education. We look at institutes like Harvard, Wharton, MIT, or many of the Ivy Leagues that students aspire to go, especially from big cities and affluent families. But a time will come where affluent students from big families will come to India to learn from our knowledge and culture because I would truly believe that there is a lot of scientific data available. This just needs to be evaluated. And through collaborative efforts, whether it's space agencies like NASA or academics or quantum physics scientists based in Europe, once they understand about our philosophy, it's not really a philosophy, then it will be a scientific pursuit of this fantastic knowledge that is there in the Indian subcontinent.
Amazing, Dr. Jinkya. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And now I guess it's time to talk about the future plans as well. So, looking into the future, where do you see the group in next 5 to 10 years? And as a leader at the forefront, where do you see the group evolving? And how do you envision like your personal journey within this growth, in this futuristic growth?
I feel the expansion strategy will continue because there is still a huge demand supply gap. So we wish to go to different corners of Bharat. We're also planning to expand globally, or rather, we are expanding globally by setting up campuses overseas. So that's again very high on the agenda. We're also into the healthcare space because there is a lack of healthcare facilities in the country.
Mhm.
And our philosophy is always to serve the people who can't really afford this kind of healthcare.
Mm.
Because of our association and setup of our medical schools, we're able to offer hospitals at subsidized costs, which again take care a lot of the patients who come in. So the expansion will be in healthcare and in education. And I previously spoke about the online platform because AR and VR is something that we are greatly focused on. We have already started a school which is a completely online school, which will again be an experience school where the teaching will be done completely on AR and VR and only for laboratory work, for sports work. So it will be sort of blended learning. So blended learning is something very high on agenda, and perhaps in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see a lot of blended learning. So to a certain extent, if I would divide it in percentage, I would say 30% of our growth would be in terms of brick and mortar establishment,
Hmm.
and 70% would be tech based. So that's how I see how the future is heading.
So, Dr. Ajinkya, we have seen that you talk a lot about making education, reachable and accessible to the poor people or the underprivileged section of the society. So, we would like you to talk about more, and shed some more light on this topic. So, please let us know about
So
that.
we are a developing economy, and we've taken great strides to reach where we are. So it's a slow process because we are over a billion people, and for a billion people to have access to this education, tech will play an important role. I also feel that at the policy level, there should be some radical changes which enable many more private players to enter the sector, whether it's tech-based players, whether it's brick and mortar placements, because the entry barriers are very high when you're coming into education. The rules and regulations are very rigid. So I feel that there should be some relaxation in terms of how the space can be utilized in terms of students coming in, because there are many facilities which are wasteful. For example, libraries could be common or they could be digital. Some of the learning could be done through shared classrooms rather than having specific areas for a specific institute. But because the different councils have different requirements, the sharing of spaces has become very difficult. So I think there needs to be a complete change because it's a collaborative world. Today we are collaborating through this interview is being done through a video conference. So
True.
I see no reason why campuses also can't be collaborative. So a campus, say somebody could teach in Mumbai, could learn in Pune, or building could exist in Indore. Somebody's joining in from Kashmir, or there could be a teacher from Tirupati. So I think these sort of combinations should be allowed to traditional players. The tech companies already doing this.
Hmm.
But what happens is traditional players who go through the regulatory mechanism, they have to invest heavily on this infrastructure just to make sure that they have the license to sort of give this degree. And I think that creates a barrier for many private players to come in because it's so rigid and strict, which I completely agree that quality should not be compromised. But to a certain extent, if education has to go to the poor, then some of these compliances have to be reduced. And I feel as a government itself, they can put up these platforms. There are many platforms now put up by the government,
Hmm.
but there could be online schools, there could be online colleges. And once the government takes an active role or partners with tech companies or private players, I think it's just a win-win for all because the government's cause of social empowerment will be achieved. Private players' participation with the government will be achieved. And it's just that the whole ecosystem will change with the participation of the government. So today, what I feel is the government is assisting, but I would rather want them to partner and work with whether it's a small player, a big player. It's a combination of all resources. So that would be my real recommendation to revolutionize the educational world, really.
Fantastic. Okay, that's great, Dr. Jinkya. And with that, it's time to put an end to the conversation and take the leave, as we know that we have a time constraint for sure. So, Dr. Jinka, thank you so much for joining us today and providing your insights into various topics. And we hope that our global audience out there will, bag some valuable insights from this whole inspiring conversation we just had. And we wish you all the best for future prospects. And also, we wish you that you join us for more of such valuable conversation in the future as well. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Jinke, and sharing your valuable insights with our global audience. We hope that our viewers out there will cut. We hope that our viewers out there will learn lots of things from this whole inspiring conversation we just had. And we wish to see you again for our futuristic, interviews and sessions like these. Thank you. You have a nice day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll be happy to come again. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Pleasure is all us. Thank you so much, Dr. Jinke. Bye.